Hi, I'm Aubrey, and in this video, I'm going to be making a puzzle board. Here we go. The idea for this puzzle board is pretty basic. A large main working area and 4 extra drawers, 2 on each side. The board will be finished with a dark wood stain, a neutral colored fabric both on the main working area and lining the drawers, top trim, custom leather drawer pulls, and felt feet to make for easier sliding. If all goes to plan, the final dimensions should be about 24 inches deep, 35 inches wide, and 2.5 inches tall. To construct the base and drawers, I used a combination of 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch thick plywood, and many 1/2 by 2 inch hardwood boards cut down to various sizes. After cutting the bottom plywood down to size, I was able to use it as sort of a blueprint for the rest of the box. I mapped out where the supports and drawers would be placed and wrote all of the dimensions to refer back to when it came time to cut those pieces down. This was a big help, and I referred back to this many times.
Don't chop my finger off.
In the shop because you're so cute. You are a star. Shine.
Going down. Down.
After all my pieces were cut, everything got a quick sanding, a dry fit to make sure everything was cut right. Then it was time to glue. As you can see, this middle support piece put the boat in rainbowed. To make sure the support beam and plywood fit flush together while the glue dried, I flipped the board over and drilled a screw straight into the bottom of the bowed support board. When I saw the beads of glue, I knew I had a successful tight fit. So, funny story. I actually mistakenly cut the top piece of plywood I had for this. So, first things first is I need to recut. I need to recut this piece from the top. So let me do that first. That doesn't look great, but that's okay. We'll fix that. Along with gluing, I decided to add a couple of finishing nails to finish off the base. I wasn't worried about making this look too perfect, since I knew the entire top would be covered in fabric later on. I did manage to muck up this corner a bit with the circular saw, but I had a plan to fix it with wood filler later on. I tried a brand new technique with these drawers, and honestly, it was one of the best decisions I made in this project. I used my router to drill 1/4 inch grooves into the bottom of the drawer sides. This gave the drawer bottoms something to sit into, as opposed to gluing or nailing them together. You'll see later on how it gave them a very polished look. I decided to push my luck with a router even further, and while I thought I had measured an accurate jig for the router to follow, well, you'll see. Yeah, while I initially bumped my tape up to the blade to measure the distance, I didn't think to include the width of the blade in that measurement. But regardless, after remeasuring, I was able to cut out the 4 drawer bottoms with no problems. So, do you remember in the beginning how I drew out the blueprint for the supports and drawers? Well, what I managed to neglect was the idea of working in an allowance for the drawers to move in and out of the drawer cavities, and to prepare for anything that wasn't put together at a perfect 90-degree angle, aka pretty much everything. I instead made the drawers the exact same size of the drawer cavities, and exactly what you think happened, happened. A couple of the drawers didn't quite fit into their respective drawer cubbies. After weighing my options and thinking of several knowledgeable ways to fix this error, I ultimately landed on taking some 80 grit sandpaper on my electric sander and going to town for several days. Oh, hey, you're still here. Why? I think you guys have seen enough of me sanding things. So stop this video from looking like nothing but this. Why don't you say we hurry this along just a little bit? So let's see, I have to wood fill, I have to sand, wood fill again, probably sand some more, sand a little bit more. Ooh, you know what? I have a good idea. No. No. Not right, but not wrong. Yes, indeed. Oh, no. All right, it's been, I don't know how many days, so let's get staining. I apologize if that door being open is like kind of messing with the lighting, but I also don't want to die, so you know. I used the Minwax Polyshade Mission Oak and Satin. I started off using a bristled brush, but after the first coat came out very streaky, I switched to a foam brush, which was much easier to work with. Time to steal wool. Steal the wool. I used steel wool in between coats to give it a smooth finish. I also used bug spray in between coats to finish off these dang Louisiana mosquitoes. Once the stain had dried, I used a combo of a 2000 grit wet sanding paper and a damp sponge to give the entire board a once-over. This technique is not one I've seen done before, so I'm not sure what possessed me to try it, but oh my goodness, it left the board super shiny and oh so smooth. I used brown construction paper to cut out a few ideas for the drawer handles. I initially drafted 3 options: a very wide handle, a short handle, and a small pull tab. Unable to decide, I turned to my most trusted advisor.
Hey, can I ask you a question? You choose? Can you choose one of those? This one? Or this one? I'll leave you alone. Nah, thank you so much for your time and attention.
Hi, welcome back. It's been about a week, and since then, I have nixed both of those. I wanted the width of the handle, but I wanted the pull tab effect. So what I came up with is absolutely groundbreaking. It's just a really wide pull tab. I'm gonna start making 4 of these out of my nice leather. So I'm gonna start cutting these out now. Once the handles were cut, I decided to use a bit of super glue in the middle for added support. I clipped the handles together to dry and suddenly felt like I was being watched. I finished the raw edge with 2 coats of craft paint and they were good to go. I then measured and marked the holes to be drilled for the handles. To make easy patterns for cutting out fabric, I laid some sheets of regular A4 paper to the size of the board and taped them together. I then repeated this process for the drawers. This light gray vinyl reminded me of leather, but for a quarter of the price. I wanted something neutral that wouldn't clash with the colors of a puzzle, and that would allow the puzzle pieces to glide across it with ease. I would recommend this fabric for anyone who wanted to cover even a store-bought puzzle board at home. 10 out of 10. All I had left to do was to attach the handles, adhere the fabric to the board, and then it was time for the final reveal.
If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching till the end. If you enjoy watching me make this puzzle board and you'd like to keep up with any future projects I'll be doing, make sure you subscribe to this channel and go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.